You knock lightly on the door. An elderly man opens it, beaming at you. He announces himself as Selfor and beckons you inside. Might he be the headman you've heard so much about? Ask me anything you like, he offers. Selfor receives your party, for whatever reason, rather graciously. He could well be a font of knowledge. What will you ask him? You ask if he is the one in charge of the village. It's true that the villagers call him their headman, but I feel compelled to correct the record and state that my official title is overseer. You make mention of the village's eccentricities. Selfor informs you that the island indeed suffers from an extreme shortage of medicine. He apologizes for the villagers' incivility. Consider it the price to pay for making the world a better place, he adds nonsensically. You ask if he has seen the dragon. Why, yes, he says. He returned to this island just the other day. Oh, but don't worry, he continues. He hasn't caused us too much trouble. Needless to say, this does not comport with your understanding of the dragon. You notice Melanie lift an eyebrow at his use of the word returned. At any rate, the dragon's presence on the island is confirmed. You quietly celebrate the first credible lead you've yet received. Your questions satisfactorily answered. You thank Selfor and turn to leave. He asks you to stop. We have yet to discuss the terms of your living here, he declares. You explain that you are only here to pursue the dragon and have no intention to stay. Selfor begs your forgiveness for thinking you were newcomers. It's perfectly understandable, though, what with the non-match among you, he says with a sneer. What does he mean by that? Melanie asks you, unable to grasp the old man's intentions. For reasons unknown, you feel the blood drain from your face. Your breathing grows ragged and you break out in a sweat. We're done here, you say defiantly, as you storm out of the house. Mar runs after you, chirping frantically. Melanie and the others give chase, but you and Mar are well out of sight by the time they make it outside. The two can't have gone far, though. It may be best to first search the village. Melanie and company find you standing in front of a house. She can't quite make it out, but it sounds as though you're saying to Mar, "This place is..." Melanie calls out to you, prompting you to blurt out, "Sorry, just had a bad stomachache back there," in your characteristically glib manner. She surveys you both and sees two haggard travelers unwilling to admit they're in need. "Are you sure you're all right?" she asks, concerned. "Fine, absolutely fine," you tell her, perhaps too eagerly. "So you were worried about me," you shoot back. No, I wasn't, she replies, her face reddening. You spot a familiar-looking mage on the village streets. Winifred takes no notice of you and ducks into the apothecary. So, the Ivory Order buys their medicine just like everybody else, you muse to yourself as you prick up your ears and listen carefully. Winifred and the apothecary speak in hushed tones. You'd guess it's an order for special medicine, but you can't make it out. Alas, she's just buying the usual stuff. Nothing remotely interesting about that, though her presence suggests that other members of the Order might also be in town. With no desire to run into them, you make yourself scarce before she catches sight of you. You spy the very people you were hoping to avoid, gathered near the village gate. The last thing we need is a confrontation, you mutter, spying them from the shadows. Why are we always hiding? Melanie hisses under her breath. Two members of the Order are speaking with Sherwin. Given how deferential they appear to be acting toward him, you hazard a guess that he's their superior. Have you determined the dragon's location? Sherwin asks. Hedwin launches into his report. The dragon appears to be occupying the volcano. I suggest we move to capture him immediately, he counsels. Now who should appear but Winifred, fresh from her shopping excursion. Preparations for our journey into the volcano are complete, she reports, handing Sherwin a bottle of something. Splendid. Sherwin walks off and out of sight, the other three following close behind. Lucky for you, your hastily improvised hiding spot afforded you valuable information on the dragon. Yet their conversation raised as many questions as it answered. The medicine bottle Sherwin received is probably related to their journey into the volcano somehow. Bruno recalls seeing a bottle much like it once before. He says it contains flash freeze, which can chill most anything. Maybe that's what Winifred bought at the apothecary, Bruno continues. There was talk of capturing the dragon. Melanie picked up on the incongruity as well. The Queen ordered the dragon killed, she reminds you. You know that the dragon is lurking in the volcano, but you haven't a clue how to get from here to there. Isn't it that mountain with all the smoke pouring out of it? Riddis asks, pointing westward. Why, yes, that sure does look rather like a volcano. You narrow your eyes. You three have no right being this helpful, you think. Mar pinches your cheeks without warning. You yelp in pain, which at the very least crosses dreaming off the list of explanations. Returning to the matter at hand, it's clear what must be done. You'll have to get your hands on some flash freeze if you hope to enter the volcano. Happen to have any flash freeze for sale? You cheerily ask the apothecary. She flashes a wry smile. How do you steady the roiling magma's flow? She asks cryptically. The meaning behind the question is utterly lost on you. She needs a password, Melanie mutters over your shoulder. The answer, then, would be the password. So, how do you steady the roiling magma's flow? Yes, you'd think so, she says, as if turning the answer over in her mind. But you'd be wrong. She pulls out her wares, but what you need is not among them. Your password merely granted you entry to the apothecary. She mutters softly. Alas, no. The old woman rolls her eyes, suddenly looking defeated. How did you know the answer? Did someone tell you? She mutters bitterly. You've managed to crack the code, and a bottle of flash freeze is yours. At last, you are ready to enter the volcano. You've got a long road ahead of you, so you had best be prepared. Nice work. Let's do this. You must fancy yourself quite the eccentric coming here, the innkeeper drones, as if incensed by your very presence. Stay if you want to stay, the innkeeper continues, utterly disinterested in even attempting to sell you on a room.